Right now, someone you trust is calculating, not plotting. That's too dramatic. They're simply measuring the exact distance between what you've given them and what they still need. You call it friendship. They call it access. And while you're reading this, they're reading you, noting which stories make you lean in, which compliments make you soften, which fears make you generous with your secrets. Every empire that fell started with someone saying, "I trust you completely." Julius Caesar said it to Brutus. The Romanovs said it to Rasputin. You said it last week. The difference? You're about to learn the 15 tactics that separate those who trust from those who verify. The first one starts with a simple test you can run tomorrow. The first tactic is called the empty chair test. Here's what you do. Next time you're with your inner circle, step out for exactly 5 minutes. Don't announce it, just leave. What happens in that room reveals everything. Machiavelli discovered this when he noticed palace servants only gossiped when the prince left his throne. The conversation that starts the moment you're gone, that's your real reputation. The person who defends you isn't your best friend. They're studying whether defending you still serves them. The person who stays silent, they're waiting to see which way the wind blows. But the person who subtly shifts the conversation away from you, that's your future betrayer. They're not protecting you. They're protecting their option to destroy you later. You think loyalty is love. Power thinks loyalty is inventory, counted, measured, and spent at the perfect moment. Watch. The second tactic, the calculated confession. Someone close to you will soon share something deeply personal. Your stomach will warm. You'll think the relationship is deepening. Stop. Real vulnerability doesn't announce itself. When someone says, "I've never told anyone this," they've told everyone who mattered. They're not trusting you. They're purchasing your silence with the currency of false intimacy. Stalin perfected this. He'd share fabricated secrets with different ministers, then wait to see which version leaked. The person who keeps bringing up their painful past? They're not healing. They're testing which wounds make you drop your guard. But first, you need to understand why this matters. Your trust isn't just emotional, it's strategic intelligence you're giving away for free. Every time you say, "I trust you," you're really saying, "I've stopped paying attention." And nature abhors a vacuum, especially a power vacuum. The third tactic will disturb you. The kindness surge. When someone suddenly becomes exceptionally generous, lending money, offering connections, solving problems you didn't ask them to solve, your body knows. That discomfort you feel? That's your survival instinct screaming. Exceptional kindness is exceptional for a reason. It's either genuine love or calculated investment. Here's how you tell. Genuine love has terrible timing. It shows up when it's inconvenient, messy, imperfect. Strategic kindness has perfect timing. It appears right before they need something, right after you've gained power, right when witnesses are watching. The Medici family built an empire on strategic kindness. They didn't just give loans, they gave loans to future popes. You've done this without realizing. Remember that time you went above and beyond for someone who could help your career? You called it networking. Machiavelli called it what it is, purchasing future leverage with present generosity. The fourth tactic, trust arbitrage. This is where it gets dark. Your most dangerous enemy isn't the person who distrusts you. It's the person who trusts you exactly 90%. That final 10% they're withholding, that's not caution. That's their exit strategy. They'll share 90% of their plans, reveal 90% of their connections, support you in 90% of conflicts. But that missing 10% is where they keep their real allies, their backup plans, their evidence of your mistakes. Napoleon's generals mastered this. They'd pledge dramatic loyalty in public while maintaining just enough independence to switch sides when the tide turned. Someone in your life is doing this right now. They agree with you, mostly. They support you, usually. They're there for you, until. That conversation that felt slightly off last week? That friend who's always busy during your crises but available for your successes? Now you know why. The fifth tactic is the invisible betrayal. Most people think betrayal is dramatic, a knife in the back, a public denouncement. Those are amateur moves. Professional betrayal is invisible. It's the opportunity they don't mention, the invitation that gets lost, the good word they don't put in, the defense they don't offer when you're not in the room. Ancient Chinese courts called this murder by silence. You can destroy someone completely without ever acting against them. You simply stop acting for them. This is happening to you right now, and you'll never be able to prove it. Before I reveal the sixth tactic, understand this. You're not becoming paranoid. You're becoming literate in a language everyone speaks, but no one admits knowing. The sixth tactic, the loyalty vampire. These are the people who demand trust like it's oxygen. They test you constantly, sharing secrets you didn't ask to know, creating crises that require you to choose sides, getting offended when you maintain other relationships. They don't want your trust. They want your submission disguised as trust. Every cult leader in history used this tactic. They make loyalty to them synonymous with virtue itself. Question them, and you're not just wrong, you're morally bankrupt. You know someone like this. They've probably already made you feel guilty for reading this. Hold that thought, because what comes next changes everything about how you see group dynamics. The seventh tactic, the trust cascade. This is how empires actually fall, not from one betrayal, but from a cascade of broken trust. It starts small. One person hedges their bets, others notice. They start hedging too. Soon, everyone's protecting themselves from everyone else, and what was once an empire becomes a collection of individuals planning their exits. The Soviet Union didn't fall from external pressure. It fell because nobody inside believed anyone else would stay loyal. Once trust cascade starts, it's irreversible. The only defense? Never let trust be your foundation. Machiavelli knew this. That's why he said it's better to be feared than loved. Fear is reliable. Trust is a luxury item that depreciates faster than a sports car. You're not broken for struggling with trust. You are surviving in a world that weaponizes it. The eighth tactic will explain why certain people make you uneasy. The reputation parasite. These people don't build, they attach. They identify rising stars and become indispensable to them. They offer services, solve problems, become the person you can't imagine succeeding without. But watch what happens when your star falls even slightly. They don't just leave, they leave with your contacts, your strategies, your playbook, and they'll use your own reputation to launch themselves higher. I used to work with becomes their calling card. Thomas Cromwell did this to Cardinal Wolsey, served him faithfully until the cardinal fell from favor, then used everything he'd learned to become Henry VIII's right hand. That person who's always eager to help, who knows everyone in your network, who's learning all your systems. They're not building with you, they're building on you. The ninth tactic, strategic vulnerability chess. This is advanced manipulation. They reveal a weakness that isn't really weak, an insecurity that actually makes them look good, a fear that positions them as the hero of their own story. I trust too much. I care too deeply. I give people too many chances. These aren't confessions, they're advertisements. They're telling you exactly how they want to be seen while appearing humble. Every manipulator's favorite move is admitting to a flaw that's actually a disguised strength. When someone's vulnerability makes them look good, it's not vulnerability. It's marketing. What they do next tells you everything, if you know where to look. The 10th tactic might make you angry. The gratitude trap. They give you something you didn't ask for, then act like you owe them everything. A recommendation becomes a lifetime debt. A favor becomes a blank check. They keep mental spreadsheets of every kindness, waiting for the perfect moment to collect. The mafia didn't invent this. They just perfected it. That person who constantly reminds you what they've done for you, they're not generous. They're building leverage. True generosity forgets. Strategic generosity keeps receipts. Remember this feeling. You'll need it for what comes next. The real question isn't why people betray trust. It's who benefits from you trusting blindly. The 11th tactic, the Judas kiss. They'll defend you passionately in public while poisoning your reputation in private. They're your biggest cheerleader when you're watching, your biggest critic when you're not. This is worse than open betrayal because it corrupts your ability to read the room. You think you have support when you have sabotage. Byzantine emperors faced this constantly. Courtiers who praised them to their face while funding their rivals. The tell? They defend you against small criticisms while amplifying large ones. Sure, they were 5 minutes late, but let's talk about that major decision they made. This next part? Most people can't handle it because it's about you. The 12th tactic, trust laundering. This is how dirty loyalty becomes clean reputation. They use their connection to you to build trust with others, then use that manufactured trust to eventually work against you. They name drop your relationship to open doors, then use those doors to build alternatives to you. It's not betrayal in any single moment. It's 1,000 micro-betrayals that add up to replacement. They're not stealing from you. They're slowly becoming you, using your own reputation as startup capital. Power isn't loud. It's the person everyone watches when no one's looking. And right now, someone's watching how you handle being watched. The 13th tactic will feel familiar. The false summit. They support you to a point. The point where supporting you further would mean you'd surpass them. Then suddenly, the encouragement stops. The opportunities dry up. The introductions cease. They'll never say they're threatened. Instead, they'll say you're not ready, or need more time, or should be careful. They become the ceiling they pretend to help you break through. Every mentor who turns cold when you succeed, every friend who gets distant when you grow, they're not abandoning you. They're containing you. You have the right to disappoint people who need you small. Your boundaries aren't mean. They're what keep you sovereign. The 14th tactic, the trust terrorist. They blow up relationships around you by revealing concerns about others. Always for your benefit, of course. They're just looking out for you. But notice the pattern. They isolate you from anyone who might offer alternative perspectives, anyone who might warn you about them. They create a desert around you and call it protection. By the time you realize you're alone with them, they own you. Every abuser uses this. Every cult uses this. And it's happening in corporate boardrooms and coffee shops right now. There's one thing Machiavelli never told you about trust. He was too busy surviving to say it out loud. The 15th and final tactic, the empire's end. This is the ultimate pattern. Trust doesn't destroy empires. Blind trust does. The moment a leader stops verifying, stops testing, stops watching, the countdown begins. Not because people are evil, but because power, like water, flows to the lowest point. When you trust completely, you create a lower point. Caesar didn't die because Brutus was evil. He died because he stopped seeing Brutus clearly. Every empire that fell believed in the myth of loyalty. The ones that survived believed in the reality of interests. But here's where it gets worse than you think. The cost of never trusting is dying alone with your paranoia. The cost of trusting blindly is dying surprised by your friends. Machiavelli chose the first. Caesar chose the second. But there's a third way, the way of strategic trust. You trust actions, not words. Patterns, not promises. You verify constantly without appearing to. You give people enough rope to either climb or hang themselves. You become someone worth genuine loyalty while never depending on it. This isn't manipulation if you're protecting yourself from users. You're not becoming evil. You're just done being prey. Now you can read the game. You know why that conversation felt wrong, why that kindness felt heavy, why that friend feels dangerous. But knowing isn't enough. Because while you've been learning to read others, someone's been learning to read you. They've noticed your new awareness, your new boundaries, your new power, and they're adjusting their game accordingly. The trust game never ends. It only gets more sophisticated. Every time you level up, so do the players around you. That's not cynicism, that's evolution. The gazelle gets faster, so the lion gets smarter. You get wiser, so the betrayals get subtler. You wanted power, but power wants something from you. It wants you to see clearly, even when clarity hurts. To choose carefully, even when choices feel cold. To protect yourself, even when protection looks like paranoia to people who benefit from your blindness. That person you trust most? Test them with these tactics. Not because they're guilty, but because verification is the only real trust that lasts. The empty chair, the calculated confession, the kindness surge. Use them all. What you discover might free you. or it might show you that your empire is already falling. Next time, Jung will show you why you can't stop playing this game, even when you want to. Why your shadow needs the betrayal as much as your light needs the trust. Why the person you really can't trust might be yourself. You think you're ready for that truth. You're not, but you'll watch anyway, because now that you see the game, you can't look away. Welcome to the other side of innocence. Population, everyone who survives.